bunnies. For today's video, I want to talk about something that I am pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Passionate. Something that I'm pretty passionate about, and that is domestic violence. Now, for those of you who don't know, October is not only Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but also Domestic Violence Awareness Month, National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Now, on my personal Facebook profile, I have been sharing and posting little tidbits here and there about domestic violence awareness, things to look out for, things that you should look out for within your friends, within your own personal relationships, and I decided to share some of that with you here on this platform. Now, me personally, I have gone through my own battles with domestic violence, and I'm not ready to share that story as yet. So please respect that that aspect of this whole video and not ask about it, because I will not answer that. Just know that I have gone through it, and when I'm ready to talk about it, I will. Okay? Another thing with it being so personal to me is that I have friends, I have family members who have gone through this and have made it through their relationship, and these are people who I love and who I care a lot about, and that is why I am, again, so passionate about it. And I will not say their names, I won't go in depth with their story, but just know that there are people in my life who this has affected, who this has happened to, and again, it has happened to me personally. Now, domestic violence, whenever we say this, the first thing that comes to people's mind is that, oh, you're getting beat up on, or it only happens to women. The thing is, domestic violence is not just your man beating you. For one, it could be emotionally, it could be, again, physically, it could be sexually, it could be anything at all, it could be mental. Another thing, not only women get abused, men get abused as well. There are women out there who will literally fight their man, like fight for no reason at all. Whatever is twisted in their mind, they feel like, oh, I can beat you up for whatever reason, and the guys will not do anything in return. I literally had this conversation with someone yesterday, and I had this conversation, I want to say like 2 weeks ago or last week, with somebody else, and it was the same thing. A crazy, they call the person crazy and whatever. I think that person, and how I feel about people who are violent towards their partners, that they have some kind of mental issue. They went through something so traumatic in their past that it has affected them this much. Like I feel like they were either not loved enough as a child, or something happened, like I said, that was so traumatic that caused them to, as an adult, feel like this is what I'm supposed to do, like it's okay for me to do this. And then what a lot of abusers do as well is they'll find a way to blame you for why they're doing what they're doing. Know that it's never okay for anyone to put their hands on you in a way that you don't like, in a way that's inappropriate, in a way that hurts you. Know that there is no reason for anyone to talk down to you. Okay, whether that's your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your mom, your dad, your sister, anybody, there's no reason for someone to want to talk down to you, unless, of course, you know, you're not getting an argument and ting, but that's completely different. And now I'm making it into a joke, and I'm sorry, but yeah, it's never okay. Now, another thing I want to say is that when it comes to your friends, if you're not in this situation, and when it comes to your friends, look out for those subtle cries of help. Not everybody's going to be like, oh my gosh, he's doing this, or she's doing this, he's doing that, or she's doing that. And sometimes if they do tell you what's going on, they might play it off as a joke. Sometimes if they do tell you, they'll be like, oh, but it's okay, I'm okay, I'll be okay. He didn't mean it, she didn't mean it, it only happened one time, it only happened 2 times. It was because I did this, it was because I said that. Understand that you can give all the advice you want, but at the end of the day, that person has to choose to take that advice and do something with it. If they choose to stay in that relationship, the most you can do is be there for that person. Do not walk away from that person. Don't be like, all right, this person is so stubborn, they're not going to listen to me, so fuck them, it's whatever. You cannot do that. because at some point, and I literally said this last night, at some point that person is going to end up on your couch crying while their partner is blowing up their phone wondering where they are. And this is one of the clues of someone being in an abusive relationship. Like, a little bit of jealousy is normal, but if they're trying to control your friends, they're trying to control who you talk to, when you talk to them, they're trying to control how you dress, how you act, how you look, the way you walk, the way you talk. If you decide to go somewhere and every 5 minutes they're like, where are you, what are you doing, where are you, what are you doing, it's abuse. It's obsessive, it's possessive, it's compulsive, it's narcissism. It's not okay. It's not healthy. It's not normal. Don't ever think that that is normal. You are no one's possession. No one owns you. You are your own person. Okay? And if your partner is doing these things, whether knowingly or unknowingly, you have to let them know. If you're okay with it, then you know what? That's your relationship. But if it's something that you have an issue with, you need to let that person know. And if they are not willing to change anything, then you need to do something about that. You can either sit in a relationship and, you know, whatever, see where it goes, and, you know, but 9 times out of 10, that person is not going to change. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. You really can't. You have to be aware of what's happening around you, what's happening inside of your relationship, what's happening with your friends, if you are in a relationship where your partner is like, I don't want you to talk to that person, or else what? If you feel threatened in any kind of way, if this person insults you, insults your intelligence, tries to demean you in any kind of way, talk down to you, that person is being abusive. You need to recognize that. And then for me, it's come to a point where I want to do something. I want to give back in some kind of way, but I don't know how. I saw this post earlier. This one person, she has a dance class, and what she does, she's gonna have one free dance class, but all you have to do is wear purple and bring a used handbag. And then they're going to donate that to a battered women's shelter. And I want to do something like that. So if you have any ideas, leave them in the comment section below. Maybe we can collaborate on something. If you're in the South Florida area and you want to collaborate, let me know. I want to do something. I personally want to do something by the end of this month. I want there to be even more awareness about this, because growing up, a lot of people, especially in the Black community, we feel like, oh, if he hits me, so he loves me. He does this because he loves me. No, it's not okay. It's not normal. Your man is not supposed to hit you. You're not supposed to be covering up bruises because he got drunk and wanted to punch you and slap you around a little bit. That's not okay. And then afterwards tell you, oh, I'm sorry, oh, I love you. You need to recognize patterns. Stop listening to the apologies and recognize the patterns. Recognize that every time something happens, this is what he or she does, and then afterwards they apologize for it, and it's, oh, I love you, oh, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. And then maybe not even the next day, maybe the next week or the next month or 2, 3, it doesn't matter if it happens every day, every other day, once a year, it doesn't matter. If it's something that continues to happen, it's a problem. Learn to recognize the issues. Recognize when someone is using you. Recognize when someone's abusing you. Recognize when somebody is being possessive of you. Yes, you are a queen and you're a prize, and he should fight for your love, but he shouldn't be fighting you for that love. If you're crying more than you're laughing in your relationship, then something is wrong. If when he walks into a room you're scared, something is wrong. If when you go to sleep at night and he tries to hold you, something is wrong. You need to talk to somebody, anybody. You need, or write it down in a journal. If you feel like, and I read this the other day, that women are 70% more likely to die or get killed after leaving an abusive relationship than if they stayed in that relationship. And that is sad. It's sad that we don't even have the choice we don't even have the choice or the freedom to walk away from our abuser, because the moment we do, we have the chance of getting killed. We have the chances there of getting shot in the head and dying. If any of you have been keeping up on social media, LaShonda Childs, 17 years old, was dating a 28-year-old guy, and he shot her in the head and she died. It's not okay. Pay attention to the things your friends say. Pay attention to the way they act when they're around their partner. And it's funny because there's always this one meme that goes around saying, stop idolizing other people's relationship because you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. It's so true, because you'll see a couple and they will seem so perfect. They'll be like, oh my gosh, goals, you're my favorite, you're this, you're that, whatever, but you don't know that last night he was punching her face in. You don't know that last night he was calling her a bitch and a slut and a whore because she wanted to hang out with her girlfriends. And it's especially harder for women who have kids, because you're caught in between wanting to raise your family in the quote-unquote perfect home, the complete home, the unbroken home, the mom, dad, you and your brother and your sister, we're all living together under one roof. You're caught in between wanting to live in that box, but at the same time wanting to get away from this person who's making your life a living hell. Because you know that you need to walk away. You know that if your kids see this, they're either going to want to kill the man that you chose to be with, or they're going to end up being the man that you chose to be with. Neither one of these two things are good. So while it sounds like I'm telling you to leave, even though I just told you that 70% of women who leave have the chance to are more likely to get killed than those who stay, I know it sounds hella confusing at this point, but this is something that you really have to think about. This is something that you really have to consider. This is something that you have to be like, yo, if I leave, where do my kids go? Because if I leave and something happens to me and he goes to jail, what happens to the kids? Where do they go? Do they go in the system? Do they become their grandparents or their aunts and uncles' new burden to bear? Because like I said, at least one other person in your family is going through the same thing. So they end up in another broken home, another abusive home. What do you do? And this is why I feel like I want to give back some kind of way to the community. I feel like while there is so much being done, there's still not enough being done. I feel like it's not being talked about enough. It's not being normalized enough. It's being swept under the rug. It's being made of as a joke. I literally heard a girl, we were talking about nose rings, and I told her my nose isn't pierced. I just put the thing on there so it looks cute and whatever. I don't want to pierce my nose because I wear makeup, blah blah blah. And then she was like, yeah, I pierced my nose one time, and then my boyfriend just come and box it up my face, and then that was it. And then she laughed, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that's not funny. Like, that's not something that you just say. But then at the same time, it's like, she's probably so numb to it. She's probably at the point where it's like, you know what, it happened and I couldn't do anything about it. I didn't do anything about it, so I just laugh it off. There are so many people out here who put on this mask and make it seem like everything's okay. They drink a lot. I've been there. They or smoke a lot or party a lot or do whatever they need to do. They sleep around behind their abusive partner's back, whatever it is that they need to do to release the pain, and it's not okay. So we need to have this conversation more. We need to normalize this type of conversation, not the, oh yeah, he hit me the other day and I learned my lesson, or he did it because whatever. No. And then the worst type of apologies are the ones where they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, but what? Either you're sorry or you aren't. You're either going to do it again or you're not. And that is why I keep saying recognize the patterns, because if every time it happens the next day or the next hour, they get up and they're like, oh, I'm sorry. How many times can you be sorry until it actually stops? Okay. All right, that's it for me. If you guys feel like I should have mentioned something that I didn't mention, because I'm pretty sure there is, leave it in the comment section below. Let us have an actual conversation in the comment section about this. If you've been through it and you want to share, feel free to do so. If you want to email me about anything, my email is in the description bar. Go ahead and send me an email. I'll respond as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, peace sign and kissy face. Bye.